Peep this. 2004, somewhere off the coast of Florida. Amanda Reynolds, a 37-year-old hospital admin from Jacksonville, straight up ghosted from her locked cabin on the MS Ocean Dream. This was supposed to be her epic Caribbean getaway, the one she hustled for 2 damn years to bankroll after a nasty divorce. She was finally about to live it up, sun, waves, no drama, but 48 hours in, she's gone, vanished. No one heard a thing, no signs of a throwdown, nobody ever washed up. The door was deadbolted from the inside, balcony locked up tight, and her gear was scattered like she just bounced for a minute. Wallet, passport, phone all there. It was like she just dissolved into thin air, leaving the entire ship bugging out. The Coast Guard searched for miles, choppers screaming overhead, but they found Jack. Suicide? No shot. She had a full schedule snorkeling, spa days, and was even gassing up a new dude back home. An accident. How you gonna accidentally lock yourself in and then fall overboard? That leaves foul play. But who? And how the hell did they pull off a snatch and grab on a floating city? For 19 long years, this case was on ice, buried in dusty files, while her family held on to a sliver of hope. Then, out of nowhere in 2023, one grainy picture from an old crew member's stash box blew the whole thing wide open, putting a spotlight on a predator who was hiding in plain sight. This ain't just a missing persons case, it's a locked room nightmare that rocked South Florida, proving how easy it is for a monster to wear a uniform on the open water. So strap in, cause this story's got twists that'll snap your neck, and an ending that proves justice might be slow, but it hits like a freight train. Aight, if that intro got you gripped, go ahead and smash that like button right now. And drop a 1 in the comments if you're all about this genre, true crime that unearths cold cases that finally get their justice. Let me know in the comments what case you want me to break down next. Maybe one from your own block. Bet. Let's get into how this whole thing went sideways. Amanda Reynolds wasn't just another name on a file, she was a real one. A woman who battled through life's garbage and was finally coming up for air. Born in that sticky Ocala, Florida heat back in 1967, she grew up in a regular ranch house with one of those screened-in porches where the fam would just kick it, swatting bugs and chopping it up. Her mom, Angela, was a beast with a sewing machine, making everything from drapes to prom dresses. And her dad, William, ran a feed store on the edge of town, always smelling like hard work. Amanda was the middle kid, stuck between her older bro Joshua, who became a damn hero fighting fires, and her little sis Lauren, who was out there shaping young minds as a grade school teacher. From day one, Amanda was the quiet one, the book nerd who'd scoop up stray cats and nurse them back to life in the garage. Her high school yearbook said her goal was helping people, and she wasn't playing no cap. After getting her degree in healthcare admin from UCF, she landed at Jacksonville General Hospital, grinding her way up from admissions to department coordinator over 15 solid years. Her co-workers called her the birthday queen. She never forgot a single one, always had a card or a cupcake ready, no matter how slammed she was. At 28, she got hitched to Stephen Barnes, an insurance dude who seemed solid at first. But 7 years later, the vibe was just off. No kids, no big drama, just 2 people who weren't on the same page anymore. By 37, Amanda was riding solo in a chill 1-bedroom near Riverside with her cat Whiskers posted up while she binged rom-coms. That cruise, that was her victory tour, a 7-day escape she worked double shifts for, blowing off her best friend Nicole, who told her to wait and save more. Life's too short, girl, Amanda told her, dead serious. I earned this. She had no idea that choice was about to flip her entire world and everyone else's, inside out. The MS Ocean Dream pushed off from Miami on a blazing June afternoon in 2004, its horns blasting like a victory anthem as the city faded away. Amanda was up on the top deck, sipping champagne, her sundress catching that salty breeze of freedom. For the first time in what felt like forever, that weight in her gut from the divorce finally lifted. She made friends fast, a retired couple from Tallahassee, Robert and Elizabeth Johnson, who she linked up with every morning at the buffet. Robert was always stacking pastries, joking about his doctor, while Elizabeth was all about that hot sauce on her eggs. Amanda was a creature of habit: yogurt, berries, black coffee, wheat toast, always on time, always reliable. So when she ghosted breakfast on day 3, the Johnsons felt something was off, that low-key dread creeping in. By 9:30, they were at her cabin on deck 7, banging on the door. Nothing. A steward named Andrew Hayes, a young cat from the Philippines hustling for that paper, came by and used his master key. The door only opened 6 inches, stopped cold by the security chain. Through the crack, they saw it all. Bed a mess. Suitcase popped open. A half-drunk water bottle. Sandals on the floor. But Amanda? Gone. Andrew hit up his boss on the radio, who called security. 20 minutes later, the hallway was swarming. The head of security, David Thompson, a gritty ex-cop from Miami-Dade, showed up and called for bolt cutters. The chain snapped. The room looked like she was coming right back, book face down on the desk, phone charging, purse with her whole life in it hanging on a chair. Balcony door, locked from the inside. Bathroom, bone dry. No blood, no struggle, no note. David went over everything twice, completely stumped. How does a 5'6" woman just dip from a locked room on a boat in the middle of the damn ocean? The whole thing was impossible. The last time anyone saw her breathing was at dinner the night before. Her table mates said she was chill, maybe a little beat, eating some grilled fish and then skipping dessert to go read. She bounced around 9 p.m., saying she was going to crash early before they docked in Cozumel. Security cams clocked her swiping into her cabin at 9:17, flying solo. The next camera was a good 30 feet away, and it didn't catch a soul creeping down that hall until housekeeping knocked at 7:53 in the morning, no answer. So they kept it moving. The ship's logs showed no crew key was used on her door. The balcony was 40 feet above the water with a 4-foot railing, a tough jump, but not impossible. But that door locked from the inside. Suicide was off the table fast. Amanda had already paid for trips, had a massage booked, and was hyped about some new guy. Her sister Lauren, back in Jacksonville, was adamant. She's happy, planning to get her master's. She would never just check out like that. The theories went off like a bomb. A kidnapping? From behind a chained door? Did she stage her own disappearance? Then why leave everything behind? Human trafficking? They checked the cargo holds, came up empty. Mexican authorities found nothing on land. David put the ship on lockdown. They stopped, circled back, and the crew tore the place apart. Her face was blasted on every screen. Dark blonde bob, hazel eyes, that warm smile. Passengers checked their own spaces. The Coast Guard gridded out over 70. 2 square miles. 6 hours of searching turned up nothing, not a scrap of anything. By the time they docked in Cozumel that afternoon, the FBI was on board, grilling everybody, scanning every frame of footage. The investigation hit a wall, fast a jurisdictional nightmare since the ship was flagged in Panama with a home base in Liberia. Tips started pouring in, sightings in Nassau, Key West, all dead ends. The media went nuts. Back in Florida, Amanda's face was everywhere. Her family hired a maritime lawyer, Mark Rivera, who found a weird entry in the logs. A water filtration check on deck 7 that night by a tech named Brian Caldwell, with no supervisor signature. The cruise line blew it off as a clerical error. The family held vigils on Jacksonville Beach, but as summer ended, the story faded and the file got colder than a morgue slab. Just another ghost lost at sea. Back home, the Johnsons were haunted. Elizabeth would wake up in a cold sweat, picturing that empty cabin, that stupid chain. Robert was firing off letters to the cruise line, demanding they step up their game with more cameras and better background checks. The whole community was shook. People started side-eyeing cruises, whispering about the dangers. Amanda's apartment sat untouched for a year. Her cat, Whiskers, went to live with Lauren, who was already juggling her own life and a million what-ifs. Her parents, Angela and William, they were shattered. Angela would dust Amanda's old room every single week, the collection of lighthouses on her dresser looking like silent accusers. William just stayed in his workshop, building birdhouses that he never sold. Joshua flew in from out west, so full of rage he was punching holes in walls. Lauren had to be the strong one doing press conferences, starting a Find Amanda Reynolds Facebook page that blew up. Thousands of people followed, throwing out wild theories. Aliens, ghosts, a crooked crew, but every lead just vanished. Mark Rivera questioned the staff, ran background checks, found a few small-time busts, but nothing that stuck. The cruise line's lawyers just shut him down with talk about privacy and policy. By the end of the year, they held a memorial for her at the hospital. Life kept moving, but that hole she left behind was massive. Drop a comment if you think justice in these cases ever really brings peace, or does it just open up old wounds? The years crawled by, heavy as hell. 2005, a fake sighting in Barbados, a woman had the same haircut, but the eyes were all wrong. Lauren flew down on a prayer, only to have her heart ripped out all over again. 2006, a dead-end tip from Portugal. The family vigils became a sad routine, with fewer news cameras showing up each year. Angela's health started failing, and William got quieter and quieter. Lauren kept that Facebook page going, posting on birthdays and anniversaries. Still looking for you, sis. The FBI file stayed open, but was basically dead, with no agents on it. Her ex, Stephen, got remarried and moved to Atlanta, but you know that guilt stuck to him. At the hospital, people mentioned her name less and less. Whiskers, the cat, passed away at 15. The apartment was finally cleared out, her life packed into boxes, collecting dust in a garage. But Brian Caldwell, that maintenance guy from 2004, he never forgot. He was only 26 back then, and he'd snapped a quick photo during his check, just as a CYA thing. But he caught something messed up in Amanda's cabin. The door was ajar. She was on the bed looking totally out of it, and a dude in a uniform was standing over her with a bottle or a rag. His radio went off. He freaked, snapped the pic, and ran. He was paralyzed by fear. He was young. His mom was sick. He couldn't lose that job. If he snitched and was wrong, he was fired. If he was right, he was a target. So he locked the photo away, quit the cruise life in 2006, and became a building superintendent in Tampa. Got married, had kids, coached soccer, a whole normal life built on top of a secret that was eating him alive. By 2010, the tech game had changed. Cold case squads were pulling out old files. A new agent in Tampa, Rachel Vargas, grabbed Amanda's case, reran every print, all the DNA from the cabin. Still nothing. The family scraped together $10,000 for a reward, put her face on billboards. Lauren tried to date, but the trust just wasn't there. How can I move on when she's still missing? She'd tell her friends. 2015, a podcast did an episode on her. A flood of new tips came in, all of them bogus. Angela had a stroke. The recovery was brutal. William started selling his birdhouses at local markets, giving all the money to charities for missing people. Joshua's kids would ask about their Aunt Amanda, and he'd have to feed them a watered-down story. The world moved on. Then, at 50 years old, Brian's legacy started weighing on him. That guilt was a debt that was way past due. In March of 2023, he walked into the Tampa FBI office with an envelope. "I saw something," he choked out. Agent Rachel Vargas took it, and her breath caught when she saw the 4x6 print. A hallway, cabin 70, 312, Amanda on the bed, and a figure in a maintenance uniform. The timestamp read 10:47 p.m. June 8th, 2004. It was a damn game changer. Tell me in the comments what state you're repping right now. You ever been on a cruise and just felt like something was off? Rachel and her partner, Andrew Hayes, blew up that picture. The tech they had now was light years ahead of what they had in 2004. The figure was a dude, about 6 foot, built, with a key ring on his hip, the kind only senior crew had. They ran the roster and narrowed it down from 9 guys to 4. One name stood out, Jason Harlan. He was 44 back in 2004, 16 years on the job, with a record that looked squeaky clean. But when they dug deep, they found a complaint from 1998. He walked into a female passenger's cabin uninvited, but it got dismissed. In 2001, he made a move on a housekeeper, ruled inconclusive. The pattern was faint, but it was there. His schedule was a perfect match. He was working decks 6 and 7 from 9 p.m. to midnight. They got a warrant for his duplex in Homestead, nothing. But his storage unit, that was the jackpot. They found old master keys he should have turned in back in 2006 when he quit. The lab got a hit, female DNA on one key, and even though it was degraded, it was a match to Amanda's parents. Boom. The whole thing clicked into place. He used an override key to bypass the chain, used service halls where there were no cameras, and used a waste chute to get rid of the evidence. Harlan's key card was used to access the Deck 4 mechanical room at 11:48 p.m., and the chute was activated, off the official log, at 11:51. The tech wizards recovered the deleted entries. The motive? He was a predator who preyed on solo women. His profile was a classic, a charming front hiding some dark, twisted urges. Those earlier complaints. He was just testing the waters, and when he got away with it, he got bolder. Amanda was alone, on his deck, in his zone. He knocked, pretending it was a maintenance call, drugged her with chloroform, stuffed her in a laundry bag, which a steward named Andrew actually saw, and dumped her at sea. The ocean there is 16,000 feet deep. Nobody would ever surface. They cuffed Harlan in April of 2023. He didn't even flinch. The media went into a frenzy. When the family got the call, it was a wave of relief crashing into a whole new kind of hell. Lauren said, "Knowing what happened doesn't fix it, but it ends the not knowing, the torture." The vigils started up again, and that Facebook page exploded. The trial prep went into overdrive, and the psych eval confirmed it. The guy was ice, cold. His lawyers tried to pick apart the case. The photo was grainy, the DNA was old, but the evidence was a mountain. Drop a 2 in the comments if you saw that twist coming with the keys insane, right? The break in the case was like a flash of lightning, lighting up 19 years of darkness. Dr. Emily Grant, a geneticist at Quantico, called Rachel to confirm the DNA. 13 markers. The odds were insane. "It's her," Emily said, her voice dead, calm. Rachel put down her coffee, pumping her fist in her car. They put together a task force. Warrants started flying. A locksmith expert, Thomas Reed, broke down how the keys worked. They were top-level access, and with a little practice, you could rig a tool to bypass the security chains. He had skeleton keys to the whole damn ship, he said on the stand. The timeline was locked in. Amanda was in bed. There was a knock, and he got in, pretending to be on the job. That photo caught the exact moment he sedated her. She looked confused, but there was no sign of a fight. They inferred what happened next, then how he used the ship's hidden passages to get to the chute. The ship's blueprints showed the camera blind spots, a gift from budget cuts directly to a predator. The steward, Andrew, now a hotel manager in Fort Lauderdale, ID'd Harlan with that laundry bag. "It was weird for a maintenance guy to be carrying that," he said. A data expert, Joseph Lee, pulled the deleted logs. A chute activation with no corresponding waste record. Harlan's prints were all over it. The motive was clear. No connection, just pure, evil opportunity. A psychologist, Dr. Hannah Brooks, nailed it. He was an escalating predator who used the cruise ship life as his hunting ground. It's transient, with lax security. The BAU tied him to 6 other women who vanished between 95 and 06, all of them traveling alone, on his ships, during his shifts. They interviewed the families. One of the victims, Rebecca, her sister Amy, went pale when she saw his photo. "She told me about a creepy maintenance guy. The pattern was undeniable. Get in the cabin, drug them, dump them." The prosecution built an airtight case, zeroing in on Amanda but showing he'd done this before. The trial went down in September of 2023 in Miami Federal Court. They called 38 witnesses over 4 weeks. Brian's voice shook on the stand as the defense hammered him for waiting so long. "Fear's a bitch," was all he could say. Andrew testified about the bag. Emily showed the DNA charts. Joseph explained the logs. Maritime experts laid out the ship's design flaws. But it was Lauren's testimony that wrecked the courtroom. She talked about Amanda's laugh, the time she burned a cobbler, how she volunteered at the shelter. For 19 years, she was a ghost, she whispered. The jury was in tears. Harlan never said a word, never took the stand. Guilty on all counts: murder, kidnapping, tampering with evidence, life in prison, no chance of parole, plus another 60 years tacked on. The judge, Catherine Lynn, absolutely torched him. "You are the definition of calculated depravity, enabled by a broken system." The family broke down. The courtroom erupted in applause. Outside, Lauren told the press, justice came, but not before 7 lives were stolen. That November, they held a memorial on the beach. It was packed. They lit candles for all 7 women, reading each of their names. A guy named Aaron shared a story about his own near miss and got a hug from Lauren. A foundation is in the works to push for reforms. A civil suit is coming for the cruise line, demanding better cams, background checks, a real database. Rachel told Lauren, "Your fight is what broke this case." A single sunbeam cut through the clouds, and Angela whispered, "That's her." They blew out the candles, pocketing pieces of sea glass. The ocean washes away footprints, but it can't erase a memory. Smash that subscribe button if you want more stories like this. Cold cases blown wide open. Share this with your whole true crime crew. Next up, a disappearance from the 80s that just got solved. Stay safe out there, and always trust your gut real talk. It could save your life. The second, Jason Harlan got slapped with that guilty verdict. The shockwaves shot out, touching cats way beyond that Miami courtroom. The families of the other 6 women, Rebecca Thompson, Lauren Davis, Simone Brooks, Angela Patterson, Christina Ruiz, and Maya Johnson got dragged right back into the nightmare. Their old wounds ripped open with a messed up mix of hope and fresh hell. Rebecca's sister Amy, holding it down in San Diego, had been chasing ghosts for a quarter of a century. Her life just a string of dead ends and what-ifs messing with her sleep. When Agent Rachel Vargas hit her line with the news, Amy dropped the damn phone. Her knees just gave out. "We got him," Rachel said, her voice solid but with that edge of victory all cops hunt for. The playbook matches same sick game, same ships. Amy was on the next flight to Florida for the memorial, her face a mask of pure exhaustion and grit, holding Lauren like they were long-lost sisters. These women, strangers connected by the same damn tragedy, were spilling their guts over coffee in some Jacksonville diner the night before they hit the beach. Rebecca used to joke about that creepy maintenance dude, Amy said, just stirring her cup over and over. Figured he was just a little too eager to help. 3 days later, she was gone. Lauren just nodded, her eyes a million miles away. Amanda would have trusted him too. The uniform's supposed to mean you're safe, right? Dead wrong. That foundation they kicked off that weekend, the Ocean Victims Alliance, it started as a whisper, but got loud, fast. By early 2024, they had a site up, crowdfunding was hitting 6 figures, and they had lobbyists banging on doors in DC, pushing for new maritime laws. We're talking mandatory body cams for crew in passenger spots, AI watching the service halls, worldwide databases for complaints, stuff that sounds like sci-fi but was just plain necessary. The cruise lines fought back, hard, their suits crying about costs and privacy. But the people were pissed, a straight-up tidal wave of outrage. Social media was on fire with number cruise safety now, petitions spinning up like crazy. Lauren became the face of it all, hitting every show from Good Morning America to late-night podcasts. Her voice shot but fierce. "We can't bring them back," she'd say, staring down the camera, "but we can damn sure stop the next monster. No more blind spots. No more corporate lies." Angela and William watched from their crib, pride all mixed up with that ache that never really goes away. Angela, moving slower after her stroke, her eyes would still light up when Lauren called with news. "You're doing what she would have wanted," Angela whispered one night, her hand on the phone like she was touching Amanda. William, always needing to fix things, started donating birdhouses to the foundation's auctions, each one with a tiny ship carved into it, a reminder of what they'd lost. And Brian Caldwell, the guy who blew the whistle, he didn't just fade away. After the memorial, where Lauren gave him a public shout-out, he was scared for real, but his courage was realer. He started doing the circuit, speaking at safety gigs for the cruise industry. Community colleges in Tampa had him out, and you'd see ex-crew members in the crowd, nodding like they knew exactly what he was talking about. "I sat on it for 19 years, he'd tell him, his voice cracking. "Don't be me if you get a sus vibe. You gotta report it, even if it costs you." His daughters, in college now, would just beam at him from the audience, their family locked tighter cause of the truth. But the nights were still a struggle. He'd dream of that cracked open door, of Amanda's confused face. Therapy was helping, unpacking all that guilt he'd been carrying. "You saved more people than you'll ever know," his wife Melissa would tell him, squeezing his hand. Low-key, on the good days, he was starting to believe her. Agent Rachel Vargas and Andrew Hayes. Man, they didn't clock out after Harlan. The BAU dug deeper, connecting the dots to 2 more possible cases from the 90s chicks who ghosted on shorter trips Harlan worked early in his career. The evidence was thin, the bodies long gone, but they reran DNA from old evidence with that new tech, and they got a hit. A trace on a piece of a uniform from a 1995 case was a match for Harlan. The charges just kept piling up, more trials on the docket. Rachel, burning the midnight oil, felt the weight of it all. She had 2 daughters at home, Same age as some of these girls. This job is a special kind of hell, she told Andrew over some nasty coffee. But nailing this dude makes it worth it. Andrew, her partner with the bone-dry humor, just smirked. Yeah, well, don't go getting all heroic on me. I need you to handle this mountain of paperwork. That back and forth was the only thing keeping them sane in all that darkness. Harlan, just rotting away in max security, became a whole case study for psych majors. Dr. Hannah Brooks even published a paper on him, keeping it anonymous, breaking down how he walled off parts of his life coaching Little League when he was on shore, but plotting pure evil out at sea. Predators like him live in the cracks. She'd lecture at conferences. Jobs where nobody's watching. Weak bosses, it's the perfect storm for a disaster. The other inmates whispered he was stone cold, never broke a sweat, but the guards saw him twitch when a news story about the foundation came on the TV. No remorse, not a drop, just a predator pissed his math was off. The civil suit against the cruise line, that mess dragged into 2025. The discovery phase was a straight-up battlefield. Emails started leaking, execs brushing off complaints as PR nuisances. Dudes getting bonuses for keeping incident reports low. Mark Rivera, the lawyer, just hammered them in the depositions. You knew about Harlan's history, he'd snarl, and you did jack squat. There were whispers of million-dollar settlements, but Lauren wasn't about the cash. She pushed for real policy changes. Money doesn't fix a damn thing about trust, she said. By the middle of the year, the cruise line caved and announced reforms, full camera coverage, outside audits. It was a victory, but it tasted bittersweet. Healing in the community looked different for everybody. Back in Ocala, the Reynolds house got a plaque from the town, a scholarship for healthcare students in Amanda's name. Joshua's kids planted a tree in the yard, hung up wind chimes that sounded kinda like her laugh. Nicole, Amanda's best friend, started a travel safety blog, dropping tips mixed with stories. Always pack a door wedge, always trust your gut. She'd end with, drop a comment if you ever got that weird vibe on a trip, let's hear it below. As the years ticked on, the story faded from the big headlines, but the impact, that stuff lingered. Lauren got married in 2026. A quiet thing on the beach, the irony wasn't lost on her, she'd joke. Her daughter, she named her Amanda, grew up hearing stories about her brave auntie, not the nightmares. She was a fighter, Lauren would say, tucking her in. Just like you. Angela passed away in 2028, and William followed just months later. Back together, is what everyone said. Those boxes from the garage, they got donated to a museum for an exhibit on maritime mysteries, with Amanda's quilt right there, front and center. Fast forward to 2030. The tech game is on a whole other level, AI predicting which crew members are a risk, drones scanning the ships. The Alliance was behind it all, pushing for the changes, saving lives on the low. One night, Lauren was standing on Jacksonville Beach, waves washing up, a piece of sea glass in her pocket. We got him, sis, she whispered to the wind, and the wind just carried it out over the water, almost like an answer. But hold up, let's rewind this thing, get into the grit of those early days after she vanished, because the mystery didn't just go cold, it festered, man, twisting up lives in ways nobody saw coming. Back in 2004, right after that ship pulled into Cozumel short one passenger, the feds boarding felt like something out of a movie. Agents in windbreakers with clipboards, grilling the crew while passengers were whispering, eyes all wide. David Thompson, the security head, handed over the tapes with a grim look. She went in by herself, he said, playing the grainy footage. Nobody else went in till morning. The lead agent, a sharp woman named Kimberly Hayes, just frowned at the screen. You're telling me the cameras missed that whole stretch of hallway? That's sketchy as hell. David just shrugged. Budget cuts. Blind spots. They dusted the cabin for prints, bagged up her book, her water bottle, sent it all to the labs that, back then, couldn't pull off the miracles they can today. Lauren got the call while she was folding laundry, the towels just tumbling out of her hands as her whole world fell apart. Missing? What the hell do you mean, missing? She stammered, her voice going all high and tight. The cruise line rep's apology was just a script, that corporate BS that just fueled her fire. She got the family on the horn. Joshua booked the next flight out. Her parents jumped in the car, driving straight to the FBI office in Jacksonville. That waiting room smelled like stale coffee and pure desperation, the fluorescent lights just buzzing over their heads. Angela was pacing, twisting her hands. She was so hyped, She even packed that sundress I made for her. William was grilling the agents. What'd she eat last? Who saw her last? Why aren't there more damn cameras? Patience was running thin, and answers were running out. Kimberly tried to level with them, no sign of a struggle, but the locked room was screaming that something was wrong. We're treating this as a criminal case until we prove it's not, she promised. But her eyes said it was a long shot. The media swarmed their house, cameras flashing like a damn thunderstorm. Lauren had to step up, makeup hiding how wrecked she was, her voice steady for the press conference. Amanda is still out there. Please, help us find her. The Facebook page went live that night, and by morning, the posts were going viral. Tips started pouring in, people swearing they saw her. Crazy theories, prayers. One caller was convinced she saw Amanda in a market in Nassau, right down to the bob haircut. Lauren's hope shot up, just to come crashing down when the pictures didn't match. Another tip, a woman who looked like her in a Key West bar. The feds checked it out, another dead end. Each bust was like a piece of their souls getting chipped away, but they kept pushing. Mark Rivera, the lawyer, got on the next sailing, deep undercover, mapping out all the blind spots, clocking the crew access points. This ship is a damn maze, he called in. Secret passages all over the place. His report flagged the maintenance log that wasn't signed with Brian's name circled. The cruise line's response? Just an oversight. He's a trusted employee. Mark knew it was crap, but he had no proof. They started holding vigils, first every month. Then every year, candles flickering against the dark ocean, balloons with messages floating up to the sky. Come home, Mandy. The whole community was behind them, fundraisers at the hospital, prayers at church. But the spotlight fades, you know. New tragedies pop up. By 2006, the page still had its diehards, but the buzz was dying down. Lauren tried dating some guy, but she had to cut him loose when he told her to move on. How? She'd snap back. Joshua's firefighting job took him out west, and his calls home were heavy with guilt. I should have gone with her, man. Her parents aged like 10 years overnight. Angela's sewing machine started collecting dust, and William just hid out in his workshop. Brian, all this time, was jumping from ship to ship for real. He quit that cruise line, took jobs on land, but that photo he took was burning a hole in his lockbox. What if? Was the question that haunted him. He married Melissa in 2008, and they had their girls in 2010 and 2012. Life was all soccer Saturdays, but on Sundays, he'd just be staring at that envelope, going back and forth in his head. Is something eating you up? Melissa asked him once. He just blew it off. Nah, just old work drama. The guilt was just piling up with interest. The 2010s brought a flicker of hope with new tech cold case podcasts, crazy DNA advances. Lauren pitched Amanda's story everywhere, and the episodes got thousands of listens. The tips surged again. A sighting in Costa Rica, a bust. Portugal, nothing. The FBI reran the samples from the cabin, but still got no hits. Then Angela had a stroke in 2015, and that hit the family hard. Her recovery was slow. Where's Mandy? She'd ask sometimes. All confused. William just built birdhouses like a man possessed, selling them for charity. It keeps my hands busy, he'd say. Joshua's kids started asking questions, and they had to tell them the softer version of the story. By 2020, the pandemic had put everything on ice. The vigils had to go virtual. Lauren did updates from her house, mask on, her voice muffled, but just as determined. COVID can't stop us from finding the truth. Brian, who got laid off for a minute, found himself staring at that lockbox even more. His daughters were talking about college. It was legacy time. In March of 2023, he finally cracked. He walked right into the FBI office, his heart pounding out of his chest. I have something. Rachel's interview room felt like the final judgment. Brian slid that envelope across the table, the story just tumbling out of him, all hoarse. I saw her, with a dude in a uniform. It just felt wrong. Rachel's breath hitched. That timestamp on the photo was pure gold. The enhanced pic zeroed in on the suspects. And Jason Harlan's file? It was lit up with red flags, complaints that got buried, a schedule that lined up perfectly. The warrant raid. His duplex was scrubbed clean, but that storage unit was a damn goldmine. Keys, wrapped up tight, with a trace of DNA. Then the call came from the lab. It was a match. The takedown. Harlan knocks, says it's a maintenance check. Amanda lets him in, sits back down. A rag with chloroform, she's dazed, out of it. He uses an override to get past the chain after he's in. He drags her to the service hall, stuffed in a laundry bag, dumps her down the chute, wipes the logs clean. The deep ocean swallows the evidence whole. His motive, power, and a wide-open opportunity. His profile, an escalator, a predator whose complaints were always ignored. The other cases clicked into place. Rebecca, 1998, complaints about a guy entering her cabin. Lauren D., 2001, vanished in the night. Simone, 2002, another locked room mystery. Angela, 2003, a glitch in the waste log. Christina, 2005, a weird sighting near the laundry. Maya, 2006, the last one before he quit the line. The families found each other, united, and the alliance was born right then and there. The trial was pure drama. The prosecution's case was airtight. They grilled Brian on the stand. Why did you wait? I was scared. Andrew's testimony about the laundry bag. The DNA charts. Lauren's tears on the stand. The defense had nothing. It's grainy. It's circumstantial. The jury was out for 6 hours guilty. The sentence, life and then some. The judge scorched him. You are a monster who was enabled. The memorial. The beach was grey that day. A crowd of 200 people. They lit candles. Read the names out loud. Aaron's hug that almost was. The foundation launched. The Civil War was officially on. The healing came in pieces. Scholarships. Blogs. New laws. Lauren's wedding. Her daughter's name. Her parents passing on. 2030. Still looking back on it all. Yo, if this whole thing hit you different, go ahead and smash that like button if this story got you shook. Drop a comment. Let us know what state you're watching from. Y'all ever had a sketchy cruise experience? Share this with a true crime head. Next up, we're diving into a cold case from the 80s that finally got cracked.